Alright, Joyce Troop here, Bike Man Performance. We're going to go over a few functions of the Bullydog GT that we use all the time. First I'm going to show you how to power it up via USB cord. So you can just plug the USB cord into the side of it and it will power up just like it's connected to the battery or hooked to the machine. So first thing you need to know is where the menu button is. It's the upper left corner. We're going to hit that, and these are the different functions of the Bullydog. So you can see the up and down parts on the right. Scroll it up and down. At top you'll see tuning. That's where you would go into if you're installing a tune. The Bullydogs, you do have to install the tune into the vehicle for the tune to be in there. It's not like a power commander or some other piggyback device. It actually has to be loaded in there. We're not going to talk about that today. Today the first thing we're going to talk about is data logging. Then I'm going to show you how to update the device, and I'm also going to show you how to change vehicle. So first let's go to data logging, and you'll see when we go into data logging you have three different options. Here you can start data logging, you can set parameters, and you can set trigger values. First let's talk about setting parameters. So you can read that it says speed and RPM will always be data logged. So we're going to hit continue. Now when you get a Bullydog, there's no parameters set. This particular one is set up for a snowmobile, so we'll see snowmobile parameters while we're in here. So first thing we need to do is select what we want to data log. So for number one, on this Axis snowmobile, it has pyro as an option. Pyro is the pipe temperature sensor, so we do want to log that. Now we're going to want to select number two. We don't have boost on this particular machine, so we're going to go to the next thing that is important to us, throttle position. And there's 8 of these that we can set up, so we can get the most information that's useful to us for the type of tuning that we want to be doing, or clutching, or whatever else. So I'm just going to select some stuff here, what I would typically log on this machine. We could do timing mag, timing PTO, and then another thing I like to log is how much knock retard, and that'll tell us if it's trying to take away timing due to knock, which is very important function of how we set up these Bullydogs. Now you also see I get a lot of questions on this one. It's knock percentage. Now keep in mind, if you have a Razor, you won't have these options. But so detonation PTO, detonation mag. Typical number on this value, if you're logging it, is 20 to 30. If you're up in the 40, it's probably trying to take away ignition timing due to knock. So after we have all these set, all 8 of them are set, we just click go back. Now since we have our parameters set, we need to set what a trigger value is. Now you can set this however you want. It's just it's a criteria that you have to hit before it starts logging. We're going to set speed 0 just so it starts logging right away. And we're going to set a trigger value number 2, RPM 0. Now we're going to go back, and we'll go up, and we're going to hit start. And now once it goes to this screen after it says initializing communication, it is logging. So now, even though our values are 0 because we're not hooked to a vehicle, it's recording this. It'll record for quite a while, like 10 to 15 minutes, and and you can get multiple logs on the same card. So it's not a big deal. You can, I mean, we've had 20 logs on the same memory card. It doesn't take up much space, so you're not going to run out of space. Now to quit logging, to wrap up the log, you just got to hit the upper left menu button, and it'll say preparing to save, and it'll save the file that we just made. Now once it's saved onto the memory card, you can look right back here. This is where your memory card is, and you can just push and pop that out after it's completely saved and put that in your computer, and you'll find this 00bd.dta in your DTA test folder. And then you can use our logger software found on our website to open up and view the log file. And if you're somebody that likes to tune your clutching, it gives you a perfect speed versus RPM graph, which you can use to really dial in your RPM clutching curve. So we're going to go back. Next thing I'm going to show you is, well, we can show you performance testing. So basically, this just, you can go in here and it gives you your eighth mile, quarter mile, 1,000 foot speed in mile per hour. Now we're going to go to update device software next. And if we send you an updated file or we tell you to do this, this is where you would go to it. And once again, this is in the main menu. Scroll down, update device. So we're going to select, and it's going to say, do you want to load this file now? Yes. And now it should load the file in. And it'll give this notification, and it'll go. And I don't know if you can hear that, but it clicks a little bit, and then it'll reboot, and now it's updated the device to the latest bin file if we sent you a new bin file or we instructed you to do it. So now you can see our whole gauge is reset, and it's back to square one. So another function we can do is menu, change vehicle. If we instruct you to do this, follow the prompts and go down to change vehicle, select, continue. Since we only have these for Polaris, Polaris will be our only option. And now if you're a UTV customer, you would go into the UTV, or if you're an RMK or snowmobile customer, you would go into the RMK. So for all Polaris snowmobiles, use RMK. For all Polaris UTVs, hit UTV. Don't worry that the year doesn't read 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever year it is. If it's newer than 16, it's just because the device doesn't read that. So let's hit 11 to 16 RMK, follow the prompts, and this is what we'll read here. So, and if we had a snowmobile, we would hit yes. Now let's just go back and say we have a UTV. This is our UTV. Now it says 11 to 16 Razor Ranger. Now this really means Razor, Ranger, and General, or Ace. The only one you would run the turbo setting would be if it's an XP Turbo 16 or newer. So we're going to go back. This is going to be in a snowmobile one, so we're going to leave it snowmobile and click yes. And then it'll do just like we updated the device. It'll load the file in, and it'll switch all the settings for a snowmobile because that's what we chose. And it'll reboot just like before. Alright, one more question I get is how do I make the gauges change into a 4-gauge setup like I see on everybody else's machine? So let's show you that quick. We're going to hold down the gauge button until all 4 pop up. Now say you want to change these to what you want them to read. Just hit gauge until the thing highlights, and then you can select with your up and down right hand side to whatever you want that to be. So I like to do this for the snowmobiles just because it's important information to me. And you see it'll scroll right back around to the beginning. I actually don't want that to be BD Pyro. I want that to be regular Pyro. There. So that's how I would set it up. Now you'll notice if we go back into menu and we've updated the device or changed the vehicle and we go into data logging, all of our parameters are still there. So if you were to change vehicle to a, like from a snowmobile to a RZR, then these would all be reset. But we're still ready to data log. That's a brief tutorial today on the Bullydog GT tuner. Hope you enjoyed it. Check all our stuff at www.bikemanperformance.com, and we'll see you next Tech Tuesday.